Hello and welcome to the MyLife Open Dev Sessions. It's an exciting new series, the Diary Bot series. I'm Eric Jesperson, president, co-founder, and currently the senior architect and lone developer, looking to change that and hoping to get you interested in what AI can do for you and for all of us. So thank you so much for joining today. I hope you find this valuable. If you do, I'll invite you at the end to help collaborate on this epic project. So MyLife is a 501c3 nonprofit member organization that offers its membership an intelligent platform that helps them tell and preserve their cherished memories, stories, media, and ideas for posterity, and allows them to experience other past narratives. Good news, membership is free to all humans, but only humans, no corporations, no AIs, no fictional characters. Our intelligent platform is built by humans for humans, and that's a bit of what we're here today to talk about. So what does this all mean? AI for all of us, MyLife member platform. Well, MyLife is a membership platform, an online platform that guides you through the journey of crafting and sharing your digital self and digital legacy with posterity. So let's take a look at this slide for a moment. It's a relatively complex jumble, but I just want to share with you what you get when you become a member of MyLife. I'll lead you through the interface we have currently in a moment. But first, you get a member avatar. You see that in the blue at the bottom left. Your personal member avatar is an intelligence that essentially is your MyLife account. It is a digital intelligence that is meant to interact with you alone, and when invited and consented, digitally can act as you when sharing your selected content with others as you consent. So you get this avatar, and then you get its ability to control an out-of-the-box team of bot intelligences called the memory team, which you can see in the middle of the screen. This memory team together help you collect, enhance, improve, relive, and share your cherished memories, ideas, and narratives. So MyLife as a technology is that top bar. It's an open source, headless, intelligent API platform server. It's leveraging minimal open source JavaScript server frameworks using Koa. MyLife currently uses the OpenAI SDK for all of its LLM services, but the larger aim is to be model agnostic and become an aggregator, likes of which many of are already on the scene. The front end, as I'm about to show you, is a bit of a work in progress and in need of much improvement, and we'll talk a little more about that as we go forward as well. So with that caveat, and a call out to designers, let's take a look at the actual platform. All right. And here's the platform as it stands right now. We're currently on version 19. We're just on the brink of meeting our MVP, and we'll be moving into that space in the next couple of weeks with the next sprint. Okay, so what I'm going to show you now is a walkthrough of the behind the scenes member services. I'll explain your avatar and the biographer in real sense, not that crazy graphical sense. So let's go ahead and begin the login. I am system one, and so I will log in as myself right now. One thing I want to say to front-end designers or people interested in what is being called generative UI at the moment, a lot of these, not all, but many of these elements, the likes of which you're seeing on screen right now, are actually being intelligently pushed and developed by the back end so that it knows and controls what's occurring to our membership. Okay. So I'm going to log in, and this is my test home screen here. On the right-hand side, this is an illustration of my avatar and the options I can set and modify for now. But today I want to talk more about the MyLife memory team. It's this group of intelligences on the right-hand side that are going to help you build and create your narratives and your legacies. Now, today, because we are doing an open development session, we're going to approach doing a diary bot. A diary bot is going to has some specifications we built, and it will be one of the components of the memory team available to our membership once we're done. And that's what this series is about, building a diary bot who will work alongside the memory team in this tab over here. So, as an example, let me share uh, share a little tidbit from today. So I just want to give you an example of what it's like when you interact with your biographer and ask it to save a story. So I put in a little riff about today. And I'm going to, at the end ask Madrigal, which is the name of mine, to post it to the system. So if everything works well, they will, and that will be available in my scrapbook. While it's chewing on the back end, it is now talking with OpenAI. This is called the option box. That looks like it did not work. I don't know what went wrong, but what would normally happen is that it would create an entry on the right-hand side. Presentation day, actually, maybe it did. Maybe it happened twice. Okay. Yes. So I'm not sure why I didn't get the response. This is what these tests are for. But right now, what it has done is, based on my input, it has created a summary available to me in my scrapbook of the memory that I input. In this instance, we have several ways simply we can edit it. And again, please, UX designers, join us. This is quick and dirty, just to illustrate that the back end can, in fact, do what we're proclaiming it can do. So I can do simple things like, and then I started off with high hopes of not rambling. How'd that go? So that then can just be saved in a normal manner. But some more interesting ways to edit your memory is, in fact, to click on what we're calling shadows or prompts. These are sub prompts that, as you're looking or reviewing your memory, they might assist you in fleshing it out. At the time, I was living at home in Beverly, MA. However, I'm giving presentation elsewhere. Guess where? There'll be one clue later. And so now what Madrigal should do, unless this error is now rife and implicit through the system, is it will incorporate that information into the summary. So meanwhile, just bringing the summary back up while Madrigal is thinking again, do we pay for the fastest stream? I'm not certain that we do, and there may be a back end issue right now that I'm seeing, and I apologize for that, but it won't stop us just yet. Because what I want to do is I want to show you the next most interesting way to edit a memory. While you can drag and drop files and pictures, basically hard media that can be associated with this. Quick note and caveat, this is ready for text to speech. In terms of the technology, text to speech as an example, or sorry, speech to text in this case, both directions. Audio is technically easy to include, but creates obviously a layer of abstraction and cost. So it's on our docket, as is mobile friendly. But what I want to show you right now is this idea of reliving a memory. When you click on reliving a memory, it is going to present this story to you as if you were hearing it from a parent or a spouse or a third party, so that you can sit back and re-listen. And anything that doesn't work inside of this summary, you can add to it. Oh, I didn't like the way you said this, that, or the other thing. And then you can, I saw Frisbee, and so I could type in something more about Bryn here, about right after. Oh yes, right after Frisbee, we get dental treats. So this update also, there does seem to be a visualization problem. It's probably in the packet that's coming back. So I'm going to have to troubleshoot that. But then what happens is it adds that in. You've captured that delightful detail. Thank you so much. Wasn't it a delightful detail? Let's see if that's true. Not in that one. Oh no, not pre-verbal. I Oh, it did. It incorporated into the top part. And then what it does is it moves on to the next segment of the memory. And we can this is all a set of instructions and guidelines and parameters to help the AIs illustrate your story and yet still take feedback on these various elements. And like I said, there are ways to upload files here. And we are in our just pre-pilot alpha stage. As you can see, there's a couple errors that I do need to fix, but in general, this functionality is all in place. And so we anticipate that in October, we're going to run our first alpha program. All right. Now, why don't we talk a little bit about what it is we're going to learn today and what I intend to show you how to do and what we're going to solve. So there are a few learning objectives for today. I want to show you where the MyLife repository is. So let me just speak about that for a moment. It is one single code base. Both front end and back end are in one repo. I will put those in Slack or Slack. We do use Slack. I will put it both in Zoom and YouTube when it goes to YouTube. Links to the MyLife repository. We do not have a complex collaboration strategy right now, but I do give you ways to reach out and we can develop something unique for your skills as we're standing up the actual program and validations and verifications. We will also today learn how to develop what I'm calling static knowledge LLM solutions. We're going to use the OpenAI GPT technology to do that. And inside that technology, we're going to test and evolve the solution in that plate. So just for those of you that might not be as familiar, an LLM is a large learning model. When we talk about it in the MyLife framework, it's either a bot or an intelligence. I would say that they are, for all intents and purposes, the same. So we are developing inside of MyLife these intelligent solutions to the specifications we receive. So let me talk just for a moment about static. And well, let's say the different types of knowledge that you will find inside of these, well, inside of MyLife and the LLM technologies that we interface with. So I talked a little bit about static knowledge. In the OpenAI sense, these are instructions or files or references to descriptions and instructions at the intelligence level. You'll see that there is a wrapper. It's called a GPT. It's a in situ framework where you can make edits and see the results of your edits. This doesn't require any coding skills. This would also include, which was part of the original design of MyLife, and it can still accommodate it, few-shot engineering, few-shot prompt engineering. I would say that static knowledge is prompt engineering. Now, dynamic knowledge. This does require a little bit of skill. Dynamic knowledge is when an intelligence is able to do something other than just answer your question, but based upon your response or based upon something that it knows it can do, such as make a summary of a memory. That's called an action or a function, depending on what technology we're using inside OpenAI, but they're relatively equivalent. And then in our case, in the MyLife case, we also have a NoSQL database that's going to allow for it to query via API for current data when necessary. Our APIs are doing that all, or sorry, our intelligences are doing that all the time. And then there's this kind of very interesting space, which we're calling interactive knowledge. And in general, this requires a reasonable degree of coding capacity, but there are a couple elements of it which can be implemented to an extent with no coding skills, just using instructions. We call that modes. It's kind of a forced way, based upon member or user knowledge, that they can engage different functionalities or ask the intellect to behave differently in an interactive, on-demand way. But more interestingly, when I showed you those options, those clicking, they are basically sending dynamic, updated, interactive push instructions to the intelligence so that it is constantly always aware of your immediate preferences. And it has a memory based on thread management, and the way we manage that is another element, another depth to interactive knowledge. Again, this generally requires coding skills because you're at that point incorporating it into the MyLife system where you can have this personal immediacy, personalized immediate knowledge. Now, today, again, we're going to talk about static knowledge. So when we're building the diary bot, step one, today's exercise is going to be about managing the static knowledge of a diary bot. So those are our objectives. And so I would say our next effort is to dive into a couple of the elements that I just spoke about. The first thing that I want to show you, my apologies, I'm swapping out some Zoom. Uh-oh. Ah, sorry, there we go. I am swapping out some Zoom share, and I had just hidden the bar. Okay. I'm just going to check that you are seeing the MyLife engine. You are. So what is this? This is a public object, which we'll be coming back to. It is the MyLife corporate intelligence in the OpenAI ChatGPT space. It knows everything that our homepage knows, which you saw briefly before. I will go ahead and put this into the chat. This is our primary bot. And it's this type of object that we're going to be building today. And so I just wanted to show you what this is and where it is. This is I believe you need to pay currently in order to create a bot inside a GPT. My apologies. They call them GPTs. In order to create a GPT, I believe you currently need a personal account. I don't think that was always true, a personal or a team account. This is MyLife's team account. Okay. So this is the framework in which we're going to build our prototype for the diary bot. Okay, this is MyLife's public repo. I'm going to place that into the chat that link into the chat as well. MyLife's public repo is where we are keeping all of our issues against the front and back end. Again, it is one code base, and we call it MyLife-Mot. Old long story I can talk about another day. But inside that repo, we have a couple projects, and here's the example of the alpha build project. And these, oh, here we go. But we are going to work on a specific issue this series, and then just a kind of sub issue today about developing the diary bot. So as it stands right now, and we certainly can add to, and you'll watch, we're going to change some of these elements because some may be doable, some may need to get pushed into another ticket because they are more complicated than just the diary bot. This is the fun process you're going to get to be a slight part of. I've done most of the work, but I have not done all of the work. So the diary bot, our aim here is to build, I think the idea is we have a user persona, and Sheila who is one of our volunteers and truly amazing. It was her who helped me think about coming up with that very complicated slide. I'm not going to blame her for the complication, the complexity of it, but she got me thinking in a way that we can demonstrate the needs of my life visually. And so that's a first pass at it. And she has been wonderful. So we had been looking at some of the user personas that our volunteers had put together, and one that struck us in this case was about a late teenager struggling with their identity as they approach adulthood in their late teen years. And so that's a user persona we're going to adopt when we go into the testing and used for the specification side of things. So the specifications are here, and I'll walk through them in a kind of daddy knows best version. But I want to show you the two things that we're actually going to be accomplishing today. We're going to create a diary bot prototype inside of OpenAI, which is basically just a semi-public bot that anyone who gets the link, which I will post, can interact with and tell us what we did wrong. The bot should do this. It ought to do that. Yes, please take a look at what you would want a diary bot to do, or ways in which you can do better than the AI guy, which I'm certain you can. So let's take a quick look at the second piece, which is we're going to test it. So then I'm just going to give you some examples inside the framework, how you might take a look at seeing whether or not this non-functional, in other words, this diary bot prototype today will not talk to MyLife. Ergo, it won't save the data the way we want it, but that's what we're going to build. I'm going to show you front to back how to build the full functionality, or at least the minimum viable functionality for a diary bot. So to deal with the prototype, the first thing we're going to want to do is demonstrate the instructions bot. Okay, this is kind of funny. What I'm going to do, so a while ago, let me grab a couple things here. I'm just going to copy some of this language. You know what? I'm going to give it all the language and see how well it does. Okay, so ChatGPT, this is like the MyLife that I was showing you moments ago, who's our face to the world. This is, I mean, we have a homepage, but the intelligence that is behind this. So I said, so if I asked it who is on the board, boy, I hope I've updated. I really do hope I've updated this content, or else we're in trouble. Okay, yes. So that is correct. So it's our face to the world. So you can build other useful intelligences, and I'm just one of others. And in that way, this particular episode will be familiar to things you've seen elsewhere. But what I try to do when I can is remember that bots can do a fair amount of this work. So this was a chatbot instruction bot, which is tuned to try to present, if I recall, it does markdown language on developing instructions. Now, I did this before OpenAI themselves released a tool that essentially does this. I would suspect better, but this has a human in the loop review. You'll see that when we get to it. But how about instructions for a diary bot? Here's what I have. Burp, burp, burp. Kablam, kablam. So what I'm hoping at this point, the way that I like to use these is we have a couple, we actually have a couple of template-ish. We can certainly build more and make them more available as it makes sense. This is all learning a bit as we go. There's a number of things here that I find interesting, but let's go ahead and see what we have. Diary bot. Okay, so I have no idea. I will have to look through this, but I will show you what is happening and what we're going to do. So here we go. This is how you create inside of this. I think if you go here somewhere, there's a way you can create a GPT. You got to click all the way around. But when you get to the area, that's not what this video is about. You get to the area where you can create your own GPT because, again, a personal account is different than a Teams account. So I'm actually not sure I could show you where the menu is. But you will find a screen like this. And for today, there are really only 3 static fields. And when I say static, it's not really static information. You can change it as often as you want. Thank goodness that's how the MyLife infusion works when dynamically operating with a GPT. But let's just call it MyLife Diary Bot. I'll even say prototype for now. So I am the prototype for a MyLife diary bot inside the MyLife program. Now, let's go ahead and make this full screen. So this is what our instructions friend indicated to us might be a good instruction set for the bot. I'm not sure that I agree with a lot of this, but I'm going to keep that in my back pocket. In fact, what I will do is I will paste that into the ticket that we're using here. So now we are moving into the diary bot prototype. So in here, we have demonstrated the instructions bot, and I will paste its output here. Okay. So now we have in this ticket, just down below in the comments, I have an example of what the diary bot came up with as a result of instruction bot came up with as a suggestion, as well as a key functionality that I've included and that we already have built for a journal bot, which will provide a little bit of a guidepost as well for us to use. So let's take a look at the custom instructions. We usually put in a preface. So I agree with something to the effect of, I'm back to this now, privacy first, journalist and the health process. That's right. Okay. Okay. So entry management, we will keep. That does happen. Dynamic greetings, yes, I will keep it. Notifications, no, there's no, we're not, I understand why it said that, but we're not going to do that now. That is something we will get into as we review the specifications. I like some of what it's saying here, so I'm going to keep it. Okay, so there are some gems there. But what I want to ultimately do is go back to the specifications and make sure that the various elements are included. So one of the things that is key to this will be, I'm going to open a new tab, instructions about entry management, interests. So that would be starting free prompting conversation. I will probably end up removing a lot of these asterisks and so forth. Notifications, as I said, to be developed. Those are actually going to end up in a separate ticket for other reasons, but we do want to, in this case, and I was glad to see it here under the privacy and everything that we would set up a vault mode. I may tinker with that a little bit, but that's going to kind of be where I do it. We do want to have this bot be somewhat aware of specific ways in which it might be able to um, better privatize a summary. So it's not really summary entry, summary creation. Yeah, actually, I'll just keep it as an entry creation. And then we will also have one for diary entry updating. Okay. And I'm wondering how the updating will work, if it will look a little different than the others. Sometimes there's this lingering question about, in my mind, about whether to save or in what way to save the raw input from the individual member. Okay. Age range. So that's something that will come up when we actually do have the options working. But the idea is that right now we might want to force a mode. La, 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 la. That doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Okay. So age range. I was just thinking about forcing modes for age range. If I will just say for the moment, and again, this is the prototype. If a member gives their age, inform your voice and content to that age group. Okay. So that will give people also something to that might go under voice. I believe there's a thing for voice, but that's the type of thing we would do there. Now, also as a hint, because we know date of birth, or that is one of the prime fields inside of MyLife, that is a piece of data that can and will, in fact, in this case, get infused into the diary bot so that it knows from the get-go what your age range is. Always important that we get the right information, and I think that we have a couple of kind of tutorial ways that make it hopefully clear that good data in produces better results from the objects. It can certainly be funny when there's bad data in, but there are consequences. So tone would go into voice, personality. That again will go into voice, and if it's something that the member, and it is in this case, will be able to influence, then that will go into its instruction set knowledge and can be dynamically configured and reconfigured. Okay, keywords, no, that's higher level order. So entry summary, although I don't need to do it here, this is something that it will, that the functionality in the next or the second to next project we will see. Dynamic greetings, I think that's a good idea. It has a section for that. Setup and instructions, right? How to set up and how to so. All right. How to set up and instructions. Setup and configuration. Oh, okay. I didn't. That's odd. I thought I hope I don't have two of these open. Well, you'll never know. Actually, I don't think I do. Definitely not analysis. That's nice, but we are not doing that sort of thing. Setup and instructions. Okay. All right. My understanding was that I just had to close this, but something must have gone on a slight screw. Okay, that's better. So back over to here. Let us. There's a couple of things that I thought were interesting ideas, and they will probably go into the entry summary creation. So, oh, I see. Oh, okay. Ooh, So I did this here, I guess. Dun, 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 dun. That could do it. Okay, and that's why it didn't have this. I see. Okay, sorry about that, everyone. Set up instructions. And instructions. I may not, for the purposes of today and just time, may end up tuning some of these a bit more. As you can see, a lot of the formatting is out, and and the bots can absolutely help you with tuning and formatting. There's no doubt about it. But I think we have about 5 more minutes. So I think we've seen that the aim is to cover a number of these specifications in here. And so I'm going to add those into make sure that these are available in the instructions. So let's take something like interests. And we'll just do one of those. Okay. Going to do it in GitHub for now. Interests. So in the interests, dynamic reading, use expressed interests to suggest new topics or ideas to write about when a member is unsure of what to do next. Okay, so I actually want to put that up at the top. Now, this bot does not know what your interests are, but once we get to the real bots, what'll happen is I will create a region that gets developed inside the instructions called expressed interests, and the button clicks that the individual member makes are posted dynamically into these instructions. Now, that cannot happen with this GPT technology, but that doesn't mean that I won't put hooks and explanations there. So the other thing I just want to show you is how the summary is the critical piece. The summary is what goes to our database. So building summary instructions into the instruction set of the bot itself is going to be critical. So we want to make sure that the entry summary is going to reflect what we put in. So when member is finished, we use member instead of user in all cases. It is a member organization and it's free, but we're members, not users. When member is finished with entry or directly asks, because you should be able to do that, create a summary of the content with the following, not constraints. Let me just type constraints and structure. So now this is where it'll ultimately get translated to JSON, and ultimately it will be. There will be, when it runs the function, it is going to populate a JSON object. JSON is just a text-based structure of data you want to input into, well, in this case, our database, MyLife. So we do want it to have the ability to disguise names. I'm going to need to think about that a little bit more, but the idea about how to explain it to the machine, but the idea here is that, and this might be an option click as well, that because it's a diary entry, you might want to use a shorthand, like instead of writing Eric every time, just E. And also that way, if somebody reads it, it's not necessarily self-evident who is who, and just a kind of potentially neat little, and I'm sure there are better ideas than that about how to disguise or to convert or encrypt even just intellectually these names. So we do want it to perform a general categorization. We have language for that, and I'm going to collect that from the journal piece, but the idea here is that it is dynamically assigning the categories to the entry. And we are going to allow for member-driven tagging, but that has nothing to do with this particular prototype. It should create a relationships array. And then I will say by relationship, meaning, okay, well, and I can explain that to it a little better, but the idea here is that a friend did this. It involved a friend or a close friend, things like that. That way, we're going to test that. It was more of a testing thing. We can have that be a user entry as well. So those are actually the primary elements of the summarization itself. We could also tell it to use certain attitudes when developing the summary. One of the things that I often want to include is brevity. Is this a short or long? Is this a short or a long answer option? And again, that's something that would be dynamically chosen by the member. So once we have taken all of these custom instructions, God bless this poor GPT, because that is not a good brain, and we didn't get to the testing part. So I'll make an addendum or something of that ilk. But the idea is that now these instructions are part of this DiaryBot prototype. So if I said, how do we get started, and why are we here? It might not enjoy my joke, but it will now kind of take these instructions and and kind of create a response to my query. So what we're gonna want to do now is finalize those instructions and then test them against the types of ways. Here's a memory. In fact, you can even ask it to make a memory and then summarize it. But of course, use some of your own in order to find out how well it does the job that we've asked for inside of. I'm going to create it. It's a monster right now, but anyone with a link can chat. So I will we will improve the poor feller, but let me go ahead and put that also into chat. So this will be the object, and it will be in the summary. This is the object that we will be working with. So if addendums are needed, we will, in fact, did I share the wrong thing? I did. Well, it says the same thing. It's not the wrong thing. It's just the wrong image. We are a nonprofit member organization, and that means we thrive on volunteers and volunteer work, and we have had an extraordinary team of volunteers working with us to help us get this far. I cannot thank you all enough. You're amazing, and this journey has been everything I'd hoped it could be and more. That doesn't mean we don't have some immediate challenges. We are currently on an executive director search. We anticipate bringing on someone in a kind of volunteer or a co-partnering volunteer interim framework so that they can help us grow to the next level. We have our product. We're just about ready to go to market. Market in quotes. We are a nonprofit. We are free. Go to market with our alpha team and our alpha users, our alpha members. And we do need to build out our volunteer team at large to do that. Some real specific skills and interests we could support. This open dev session can use some assistance. Enough said. Security experts. Data privacy, data ownership is critical. It is key to everything that we do and want to do at MyLife. If we don't own our data and our data is not protected, then it is vulnerable and is vulnerable to exploitation by corporations or malfeasance. Security experts, please apply. There's everything ready to do to deploy your expertise. The same with the UI UX people. As you can see, of course, coders at large. I want anyone to be able to help and support this. But as you saw, UX experts would really help move this forward because our ideas are a little bit bigger than our capacities, for one. But secondly, it's really cutting edge stuff, and we want to get it right, or as right as we can the first time. And these are intelligent platforms, and your insights and inputs will be valuable. We're of course always in a fundraising mode. We have a number of ways to donate. Please go to our homepage and you can find it there. We obviously need to make ourselves known. Obscurity is our greatest enemy. Please do follow us on LinkedIn and at the MyLife homepage. Jump in, either sign up on the right-hand sidebar to learn more about our program, or type register me to Q in the chat box, and it should take you through the process. You can contact me via LinkedIn most easily. And also on GitHub. I mean, I should be linked. You probably found this there. And also on GitHub, I'm at Mooks.